Hi guys, Jimbo here, the driving test guy in New South Wales, helping you pass your New South Wales P1 driving test first go, hopefully. Okay folks, in today's video, we're going to answer the question of why people fail the New South Wales P1 driving test. Now, we're not gonna look at the technicalities such as, head checks, F19, or speed limits, F5, or I went over an unbroken line, F1. No, we're gonna look at the underlying reason why these things happen. Now, to answer this great question, we need to eliminate two myths that seem to be perpetuated all the time. Now, the first one is that, and may I quote, the RTA want to fail everybody, particularly guys. Now, first of all, there's no such thing now as the RTA, okay? It's Service New South Wales are the ones that conduct driving tests in New South Wales. To bust this myth, if we go back to say 2019, now this is the year before we had all the disruptions with COVID and that. Now in that year, 100% of students that I presented to do a driving test in my car passed first go. So what that means is, if the Service New South Wales did have a secret policy to fail people, particularly guys, then I would not have got those results, okay? So, myth busted. Now, the second myth that gets perpetuated is that it's a cash grab, and that Service New South Wales want to keep failing you because they keep getting you back for more tests and more money. Okay, now to bust this myth, let's look at the maths. Now, Service New South Wales have to pay an examiner. Now they're roughly, I don't know, 45 bucks an hour, maybe a bit more, superannuation. Let's round up to say 55 bucks an hour in total to employ someone to be a testing officer. Now they roughly do one test an hour, maybe start the next one a little bit, but generally roughly one test in an hour, okay? Now, they take off you, the testing applicant, $59 for that one test. So, the government receives $59 and pays out $55 to the examiner. And that's a $4 profit. Now, that's if they fail. Now, if the student passes, they get to charge the testing applicant $60 to issue the P1 license. So, the two scenarios, if the student fails, the government gets $4. If the student passes, the government gets $64. So you can see there is no financial incentive to fail anyone. In fact, there's more of an incentive to pass everybody to get more money off you. So, myth busted. Okay, now we've got those myths out the way, let's look at the real reason why people are failing the driving test. So to do this, we need to understand that there are two main factors that affect the pass rate. The first one is the difficulty level of the driving test. Now you may not know this, but every driving test is not the same difficulty level. It gets down to time of day and just the randomness of the traffic, what happens. So to explain this, I'm going to grade the driving test into three levels: the easy level, the average level, and the hard level. Now, with the easy test, this is the scenario. It's booked around mid-morning, so there's no heavy traffic. Student comes up to the traffic lights, turning right, gets a green arrow, easy. Comes up to a T intersection to turn right, there's nothing blocking the view, there's no traffic, easy gap. And during the test, there's no random hazards that jump out. They're never first at the lights on red, so the examiner's not checking the first on red check, and they get to do the three-point turn maneuver, which is obviously easier than the reverse park. Okay, so easy. Now, the next level, the average level. Now, on this particular test, they get to turn right at the traffic lights. They don't get a green arrow, they get the green circle, but there's nothing blocking their view, and there's no cars again. Again, easy. They come up to the T intersection. There might be a little bit of a vision block out, but they can push in, and then they can see very clearly what's going on. Maybe one or two cars, obvious gap, and then they go. They might be maybe once first at the lights on red, so the examiner has to check that check once. And again, they just get the three-point turn maneuver. So this test is a little bit harder than the first one, but certainly not as hard as it could be. Which brings me to the third level, the hard level test. So this one's booked around 3 o'clock, so it's busy. So that's already making it hard. Student comes up the traffic lights to turn right. No green arrow, green circle. They push in. Truck blocking their view. Can't see. It's busy. The light goes yellow, red. They've got to judge to get around. That's a lot harder. They come up to the T intersection to turn right. Trucks blocking the view. They push in. Still can't see. Got to push more. Cars keep coming and coming and coming and coming. Got to try and judge a gap. This is a lot harder. As they drive along, there's a lot more multiple hazards jumping out that they have to deal with. They are first on red multiple times. So this test, the examiner is checking these marked head checks a lot more. And they're asked to do the reverse park maneuver, which is obviously harder than the 3-point turn. So we've got the 3 levels of tests: the easy, the average, and the hard test. Okay, so the second factor that affects pass rate is the ability level of the test applicant. Okay, so this is the actual level that they're at and not the level that they think they're at, because that can be often 2 different things. I'm also going to grade the ability level into 3 levels: the low level, the medium level, and the top level. Okay, so with the low level student, this is the student that's had very little preparation, a basic understanding of traffic, had very little experience in busy traffic, very little experience in random hazards, hasn't practiced parking or 3-point turn too much. They've never had any formal training. Okay, so we come to the middle level student. This is the student that's had a little bit more preparation, maybe a couple of lessons with a driving instructor. They got a little bit better understanding of traffic, a bit more experience in busy traffic and hazards, and practice their parking and 3-point turn a little bit more. Now we come to the top level. Now these are the students that I would have prepared. These are the students that know every traffic scenario. They know every head check. They're very well experienced in busy traffic, very well experienced in random hazards, know how to deal with bad vision, and done lots of right turns at lights without the green arrow, and done lots of parks, 3-point turns, and know all their head checks with that. This student has done multiple practice tests and proven that they can deliver. Okay, in answering why people fail the driving test, first of all, let's eliminate the myths again. Okay, it's not the fact that Service New South Wales have this secret policy to fail everybody. There's a lot of good instructors out there that can prepare students up at a high level, and they'll always get them through first go. Okay, so that proves there's no policy. Second myth is it's not a money grab. We've proven that there's actually more of a financial incentive to pass students than fail them. So we focused on the 2 main factors that affect pass rate: the difficulty level of the driving test and the ability level of the testing applicant. Now, you have very little control over the difficulty level of the test, other than maybe booking it in the mid-morning when it's a little bit less traffic. But you have a lot more control over your level of preparation. Okay, so let's mesh them together. Now, if we take the low-level student, the student with the lowest preparation, and they receive an easy level test, well then, there's a reasonable chance they're going to pass, because nothing much challenging is coming up and they'll be able to deal with it. Now, if the low-level student gets the average level driving test, there's probably a less than 50% chance they're going to pass. Just more things going to happen that they're just not prepared to deal with. Now, if the low-level student gets the hard driving test, there's very, very little chance that they're going to pass. Too many things are going to come up that they just do not know how to deal with. Now we move on to the average level student, the middle level. Now, if they receive an easy test, I would say there's a plus 50% chance they're going to pass, because there's an easy test, they've got a little bit more preparation, they should be able to deal with whatever comes up. Now, if the middle level gets the average level test, well then it's probably going to be 50-50. Okay, a little bit better pass rate than the easy, but still 50-50. Now, if the average level student receives a hard driving test, I would say less than 50% chance they're going to pass. There's going to be too many things going to come up that they, even though they're a little bit better, but they're still not going to be able to deal with everything that's going to get thrown at them. Now, we come to the top level student. This is the one that I would have prepared. Now, this student will smash the easy test. They will smash the average test. And they will pass most probably on the hard one, although it will be a little bit more challenging, but they've had so much more preparation, they can deal with whatever comes up. Okay folks, so into answering the ultimate question, why are people failing? It gets down to their level of preparation. So if you get yourself prepared up at that top level, most probably you're going to knock that test over first go, hopefully. If you are not as prepared, well then your pass rate's going to come down. So with top level students, they're going to know how each intersection works. They're going to know who gives way to who. They're going to be good at turning right when it's busy. They're going to be really good at turning right at traffic lights when there's no green arrow. They're really good at changing lanes when it's busy. They're really good at all the maneuvers, parking, 3-point turn, and they know all the head checks. So if you can get yourself up to that level of preparation, then you most probably will knock that test over first go. If you don't really understand how the intersections work, you're a bit wobbly on the road, you're not sure about the head checks, well then your pass rate is going to come back, okay? So I always encourage you guys, get prepared. Now, if you're just relying on my videos, just know I've done a few mock tests and they're probably the biggest viewed videos I've got. The problem is the mock test videos are never ever going to get you up to that top level because they don't teach you all the scenarios that you might get in traffic. They just show you what happens on that particular run. And so, for example, at traffic lights, there might be 5 or 6 versions of what could happen. The mock test will only teach you one version of that. So I encourage you guys, if you're just relying on videos, my ones for example, you need to watch the how to pass videos and then watch the mock test videos. If you're going to seek out an instructor, well, get a good one, okay? One that's actually teaching you, one that knows how to do practice tests, and hopefully that instructor can get you up to a level that is the top level. Okay, so if you do want lessons from me, you have to live very close to the Narellan, Campbelltown area. Contact me via Facebook to see if you're at an area that I can service. Okay folks, so that's all I have for you today. If you are a new viewer, please press the subscribe button, notification bell, and the like button. And don't forget, always stay safe.